All right, ladies and gentlemen, we made it into August, and the Daily Stoic, that's all about pragmatism in August. So, starting off with a bang, August 1st. Oh, by the way, hi, I'm Josh, the founder of the Accountability Group, and hi, I'm Josh. I am still battling the diseases of addiction and mental health, so recovery still going strong. Alright, August 1st, from the Daily Stoic. Don't go expecting perfection. That cucumber is bitter, so toss it out. There are horns on the path, then keep away. Enough said. Why ponder the existence of nuisance? Such thinking would make you a laughing stock to the true student of nature, just as a carpenter or cobbler would laugh at you if you pointed out the sawdust and chips on the floor of their shops. Yet while those shopkeepers have dustbins for disposal, nature has no need of them. Marcus Aurelius. We want things to go perfectly, so we tell ourselves that we'll get started once the conditions are right, or once we have our bearings, when really, it'd be better to focus on making do with how things actually are. Marcus reminded himself, don't await the perfection of Plato's Republic. He wasn't expecting the world to be exactly the way he wanted it to be, but Marcus knew instinctively, as the Catholic philosopher Joseph Piper would later write, that he alone can do good who knows that things are like and what their situation is. Today, we won't let our honest understanding of the world stop us from trying to make the best of it. Nor will we let petty annoyances and minor obstacles get in the way of the important job we have to do. It's always, that one's always interesting because it applies to so many different facets of life. So first we'll start off with the obvious, at least for me, my fellowships. The AA, not the AA, that's like calling it the Facebook. AA and NA. So those are my two fellowships, personally. Anyway, with regard to that, there really is no like perfect time to get sober. Like, I remember, I'll get sober after undergrad. I'll get sober after grad school. I'll get sober after more grad school. And then I actually did get sober for 3 years and 274 days, but I was a dry drunk. The only thing that kept me sober was the fact that like I was working 120 hour weeks, building up, my startups. That was it. I had no social life. I only interacted with the people that were helping me build stuff. And aside from that, I had no hobbies. I did nothing. I just worked. So it's pretty easy not to drink for almost 4 years when all you're doing is occasionally, I'd say once a week, hitting a meeting, maybe twice a week hitting a meeting, and then working 120 hours like it was nothing. So, yeah, man, those are wild times. Like, the days are long, but the years are short. Like, I can snap my fingers and like still picture myself back in Palo Alto. Anyway, got sidetracked there. So that's kind of how it works with recovery. Like, there is no perfect time. Like, the perfect time is today. It's like right now. Just, okay. I mean, I know it sounds easy, I really hate when quote unquote normies, and one of my friends who is a normie, she really hates when I say that. And I don't mean it as a negative thing. Like, there's no ill intentions behind it. It's just the way that at least my group of friends and people in my fellowships that I'm close with, we describe individuals that are able to recreationally use and their life doesn't turn into complete chaos and carnage. because I literally will go off the rails towards a nuclear reactor that's melting down while a 747 that's on fire is crashing into it. Like, that's the metaphor that I use in terms of what happens. The other one that I use is that I am on the precipice of the abyss, and I am looking into the darkness, and the darkness is looking back at me. And I'm just rolling the dice, and we'll see what happens. That's how it used to be. Then the universe gave me a very strong wake-up call in 2013, and I was a mess until about 2017. And then it kind of clicked. And my willingness to, like, not just have this facade that I could regurgitate passages from the 12 and 12 in the big book, you know, like my favorite parts, but that I was actually, like, living the steps. I didn't need to know what page and verbatim the passages anymore. I didn't need to annotate and highlight and try to eviscerate the big book or anything like that. But in terms of my strength, it became my willingness to actually, like, invest myself and be at the center of each one of these fellowships. No longer sitting in the ejection seat so that as soon as I heard something that I didn't agree with, I could just leave and it wouldn't cause any sort of commotion. But I sit at the very front row, or I sit at the center table, depending on which clubhouse I'm at, and yeah, just participate. And then regarding recovery, you know, my hope for you is that you understand that my hope for you is that I at least realized there wasn't really a perfect time for me personally to get sober. I just needed to get sober that day, you know, and for these 24 hours, I just need to stay sober for this day. Yesterday already passed, made it through that, and now I just need to fight and work through today. So it's pretty much that simple, but we're parallels, you know, and that's what I hope for you. I hope for all of you, you know, don't wait really until the perfect moment, because the perfect moment never really comes along. And that's why I hope for you that, you know, whatever the case may be, I would try to avoid the last hurrah. Unfortunately, I've had too many people who decide to do the last hurrah, and then I ended up going to their memorials or vigils or burials, and I've lost track of how many of those I've been to, unfortunately. But that being said, there's a lot of parallels to other things like getting married, having kids, getting a house, buying a car, relocating. Like, there's never like this perfect window or perfect time. Like, there's no point in like waiting for it to like all settle. Like, once I have this amount of money and financial freedom, I'll be able to like focus on my recovery, or once I do this, I'll be able to do that. No, there isn't. So my hope for all of you, regardless of what fellowship you're in, is that, you know, even if you just start today and today is your day one, you figure out a way to throw yourself into that fellowship, to be in the center of that fellowship. And I know, much like for me, and I've been to meetings all over the place: California, Texas, New York, Chicago, Florida, Boston, Washington, D.C., obviously. Let's see. Gosh, I've been to a lot of different places for meetings. They're all over. There's millions of us strong throughout the world. So yeah, there's always ways to find meetings, even virtually nowadays. You can just zoom in. But yeah, that would be my hope for you, is that if you could start today, that would be great. But it's your recovery. It's not mine. It's not my place to give advice. It's just that I know that something clicked and I needed to start that day, Was it an ideal day? Was it a perfect day? No, I actually remember it, and I was miserable. Like, I was not in a good place. So yeah, that's what I hope for you. So subscribe to our channel, like the videos, but more importantly, use the comment section. If you're a newcomer, feel free to vent or ask for advice or explain what you're going through. And if you have time underneath your belt and have been in recovery, you can share some of your experience, strength, and hope and wisdom, and maybe that'll help both of you, because I've always found it to be mutually beneficial. I learn just as much from the newcomer as I do from the people who have more time than me, and I'm always learning something new or a fresh take on something from different meetings. So with that being said, I wish that you stay safe, stay strong, and stay sober. I'm Josh, the founder of the Accountability Group, and hi, I'm Josh. I'm vigilantly fighting the diseases of addiction and mental health.